Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something that might sting a little, something that might challenge the way you've been moving, the way you've been posting, the way you've been talking about your dreams. Stop announcing your goals. Let that sink in. Because in a world where everybody is broadcasting their ambitions, posting their gym selfies on day one, tweeting about their startup idea before they've built a single product, telling friends about the book they're about to write, the real winners? The real silent killers? They move differently. They work in silence. And they win loudly. There's a powerful quote often attributed to people like Chris Williamson and echoed in the self-development space: work in silence. Let success make the noise. Whether it's said on podcasts like The Diary of a CEO or repeated in countless motivational videos, the principle remains the same. Silent workers win. Loud talkers often don't. Now, before you get defensive and say, "But sharing my goals keeps me accountable," let's unpack what's really happening when you announce your goals to the world. Because psychology has something interesting to say about this. There was research discussed by Derek Sivers in his TED Talk showing that when you tell people about your goals, your brain gets a premature sense of accomplishment. The social recognition tricks your mind into feeling like you've already made progress. You say, "I'm going to start a business," and people respond, "Wow, that's amazing." That little hit of validation? That little rush of approval? It feels good. It feels like movement. But it's not movement. It's noise. You haven't built anything yet. You haven't suffered yet. You haven't woken up at 5 a.m. yet. You haven't failed yet. But your brain already tasted the reward. And that's dangerous. Because the moment you feel rewarded for talking instead of doing, you start choosing talking over doing. Let me paint you a picture. Two friends decide they're going to transform their lives. Friend number 1 posts on Instagram, "New chapter. 5 a.m. mornings. Gym every day. No excuses. 2026 is mine." He buys new gym clothes. He takes mirror selfies. He tells everyone at work he's on a new grind. Friend number 2 says nothing. He wakes up quietly. He trains quietly. He eats differently. He reads instead of scrolling. He studies instead of bragging. 3 months later, guess who looks different? Guess who has results? Guess who doesn't need to say anything because the evidence is written on their body, their bank account, their discipline? Silent workers understand something loud talkers don't. Energy leaks through your mouth. Every time you talk about what you're going to do, you release some of the tension that should have pushed you to actually do it. It's like steam escaping from a pressure cooker. Pressure creates action. Action creates results. But if you keep releasing the pressure by talking about the plan, you never build enough force to move. Look at some of the most successful people in the world. Elon Musk didn't tweet thinking about building reusable rockets 10 years before SpaceX launched them. The work was happening long before the headlines. The grind was invisible. When J.K. Rowling was writing Harry Potter, she wasn't posting daily updates saying, "Chapter 4 done." Feeling inspired. She was struggling as a single mother, writing in cafes, facing rejection after rejection. When Kobe Bryant was training at 4 a.m., it wasn't for Instagram. It wasn't for applause. It was for mastery. The loud talkers crave attention. The silent workers crave progress. And here's the brutal truth: attention is addictive. You say you want success, but do you actually want success, or do you want the appearance of ambition? Because those are two different things. In the age of social media, ambition has become aesthetic. People love the look of hustle. The captions. The quotes. The grind culture vibe. The coffee on the desk next to the laptop. The "building my empire" story. But building an empire is boring. It's repetitive. It's lonely. It's quiet. There are no claps at 5 a.m. There are no likes when you're studying alone. There's no applause when you say no to a party because you have work to do. Silent workers fall in love with that part. Loud talkers fall in love with the announcement. Think about this. If nobody could ever see or hear about your goal, if you couldn't post it, couldn't tell your friends, couldn't get validation, would you still chase it? That question separates the real from the fake. Because when you remove the audience, you reveal the motive. If your motivation disappears without applause, it was never discipline. It was performance. Let's go deeper. When you announce your goals publicly, you put yourself in a subtle trap. Now your identity is tied to the idea of being someone who's about to do something big. You get praise for being ambitious. People see you as driven. And your ego loves that. But when the work gets hard, and it will get hard, you're now fighting two battles. The first battle is the actual work. The second battle is the embarrassment of potentially failing in public. So what do many people do? They quietly abandon the goal, and then quickly announce a new one. New year, new plan. New month, new hustle. New idea, new excitement. But the pattern stays the same. Talk. Get praise. Do a little. Quit. Repeat. Meanwhile, the silent worker looks almost invisible. No big announcements. No dramatic declarations. No countdown posts. Just consistency. And consistency doesn't look impressive in the beginning. In the beginning, consistency looks boring. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't look impressive. Saving a small amount of money every month doesn't look impressive. Practicing a skill daily doesn't look impressive. But after a year? After 5 years? It looks unstoppable. There's another reason why silence is powerful. When you keep your goals private, they stay pure. The moment you share your goals, other people start projecting their fears, doubts, and opinions onto them. You want to start a YouTube channel? Isn't that too saturated? You want to start a business? That's risky. You want to change careers? What if it doesn't work? Even well-meaning friends and family can plant seeds of doubt. And those seeds grow. Silent workers protect their dreams like fragile flames. They shield them from the wind of negativity until the fire is strong enough to survive on its own. There's a reason why in ancient times, warriors trained in secrecy. Why monks practiced in silence. Why craftsmen focused on mastery without broadcasting every step. Silence builds focus. Noise builds distraction. Every time you announce your goal, you invite commentary. And commentary steals clarity. The more voices you hear, the harder it becomes to hear your own. Let me tell you something that might hurt. Sometimes we announce our goals not because we want accountability, but because we're insecure. We want reassurance. We want someone to say, "You've got this." We want someone to validate that we're capable. But real confidence is built in private. It's built when you do the hard thing without anyone watching. It's built when you show up on days you don't feel motivated. It's built when you keep promises to yourself. And here's the powerful shift: when you stop announcing your goals, you start building a relationship with yourself. Your word to yourself becomes sacred. You don't need witnesses. You don't need applause. You don't need updates. You say you'll wake up at 5 a.m. And you do. You say you'll finish the project. And you do. You say you'll train 3 times a week. And you do. That quiet integrity? That's power. The world sees the result. They don't see the discipline behind it. And that's exactly how it should be. There's a concept often emphasized by people like Naval Ravikant: play long-term games with long-term people. But you can't play a long-term game if you're addicted to short-term validation. Announcing your goals is short-term validation. Doing the work is long-term investment. Short-term validation feels good immediately. Long-term investment feels painful immediately. Choose your pain. You can have the pain of discipline now, or the pain of regret later. And regret is much heavier. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Version 1, you spent those years constantly talking about what you were going to do. New ideas every month. New plans every season. Lots of announcements. Very little execution. Version 2, you kept your mouth shut. You kept your head down. You built skills. You built strength. You built savings. You built resilience. Which version do you want to be? Here's something most people don't realize. When you talk less about your goals, you actually become more mysterious. And mystery commands respect. If you constantly tell people what you're working on, what you're planning, what you're about to launch, there's no intrigue. But when you disappear for a while, when you grind quietly, and then suddenly reappear transformed, that's powerful. That's memorable. That's undeniable. Think about artists who drop albums without months of overexposure. Think about entrepreneurs who work in stealth mode before launching something big. The impact is stronger because the buildup was silent. Silence amplifies the result. Noise dilutes it. Now let's address the argument about accountability partners. Yes, there's value in accountability. But there's a difference between intentional accountability and performative broadcasting. Telling one trusted mentor or close friend who genuinely supports your growth. That's strategic. Posting your goals to hundreds or thousands of followers for validation? That's ego. Be honest with yourself. Are you seeking support, or applause? Because the silent worker understands something critical. The more you talk, the more you feel like you've already done enough. Talking gives you the illusion of progress. Action gives you actual progress. And illusions are dangerous. They feel real. They sound real. They even look real. But they don't change your life. Let's break it down even further. When you announce a goal, you create social pressure. At first, that pressure feels motivating. You think, now I have to do it. Everyone knows. But if you fail to follow through, that same pressure turns into shame. And shame kills momentum. So instead of pushing forward, you avoid the goal entirely to avoid the discomfort of being seen as someone who didn't follow through. Silent workers avoid that trap. They don't owe anyone updates. They don't owe anyone proof. They owe themselves effort. That's it. And here's the irony. The people who talk the least about their goals are often the ones who achieve the most. Because they're not splitting their energy between execution and explanation. They're not wasting hours crafting motivational captions. They're not refreshing their notifications to see who liked their ambition. They're working. And work compounds. Every rep compounds. Every page compounds. Every dollar compounds. Every hour compounds. It's slow at first. Invisible at first. Almost discouraging at first. But compounding doesn't care about applause. It only cares about consistency. And consistency thrives in silence. Let me ask you something. How many times have you told someone, I'm going to start next week? How many Mondays have you announced as the beginning of your new life? How many times have you declared, this is my year? And how many times did it fade? There's a pattern there. And it's not because you're incapable. It's because you're leaking energy. You're celebrating before you've earned it. You're talking before you've proven it. Imagine if a construction company held a grand opening ceremony before laying the foundation. That's what announcing your goals too early is like. Celebrate when the building stands. Not when the blueprint is drawn. Now, I'm not telling you to become secretive about everything. I'm telling you to be strategic. There's power in surprise. There's power in underestimation. When people underestimate you, you have freedom. No expectations. No pressure. Just work. And when the results show up, they speak louder than any announcement ever could. You don't need to say, "I've been working hard." Your transformation will say it. You don't need to say, "I've been saving money." Your financial stability will say it. You don't need to say, "I've been studying." Your competence will say it. Results don't argue. Results don't explain. Results simply exist. And that's why silent workers win. Because they focus on building results. Loud talkers focus on building perception. Perception fades. Results endure. There's a discipline in holding your tongue. In not sharing every plan. In not revealing every move. It creates a kind of internal tension. A kind of quiet hunger. And hunger drives action. When you stop feeding your ego with announcements, you start feeding your goals with effort. And effort is what changes your life. So here's the challenge. For the next 90 days, stop announcing your goals. Don't post about them. Don't broadcast them. Don't hint at them. Just work. Track your progress privately. Celebrate small wins privately. Build momentum quietly. And then, after 90 days, look at the difference. Look at your discipline. Look at your confidence. Look at your results. I promise you, something shifts when you move in silence. You become less concerned with being seen, and more concerned with becoming. And becoming is everything. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards outcomes. It doesn't reward declarations. It rewards delivery. You can shout about your dreams from the rooftops. Or you can build them brick by brick in the dark. One creates noise. The other creates legacy. Choose wisely. Stop announcing your goals. Let them grow in silence. And let your success make all the noise.